Hello, my name is Martin Tett. I'm the leader of Buckinghamshire County Council. And what I'd like to do is explain to you what Buckinghamshire County Council and our colleagues in our district councils are doing to oppose the government's proposals for a high-speed 2 train across Buckinghamshire. If high-speed 2 is built, it will have a devastating impact on the environment within Buckinghamshire. It will sever a large number of rights-of-way, bridle paths. It will destroy a number of incredibly old ancient woodlands. It will come down from Oxfordshire, past Quainton, just past Hartwell House, the National Trust property, will skirt Aylesbury just on the south side, cutting very close to Stoke Mandeville, and then will run down through the Vale of Aylesbury towards Wendover. At Wendover, it will go on a large viaduct immediately outside the town, so it will actually dominate the whole environment in Wendover. And then it will move down the Misbourne Valley, in a cutting, a large deep trench effectively, underneath Shardalow's house and into a tunnel at Old Amersham. And we have to remember that at Old Amersham, most of the houses don't even have foundations. So the idea of a train that can travel up to 250 miles an hour going into a tunnel there is something the residents, I think, view with some degree of concern. As a council, we have commissioned work to look at 4 key aspects of the government's proposal. First of all, the business case. Is it good value for money for the taxpayer? Secondly, is it green and sustainable in the way that the government claims? Thirdly, have they looked at all of the alternatives, particularly the next best alternative? And lastly, will it really be in the national interest and help close the north-south divide, as the government claim? We've commissioned outside work on all 4 aspects of those, experts in their fields, and in every case the government has been found wanting. As 51M, we've come together with various other authorities along the route, and we are questioning the overall business case. As an alliance, we're much stronger than individual authorities on their own, and we've named ourselves 51M because that represents 51 million, which is the cost to every single parliamentary constituency in the country if high-speed 2 were to go ahead. We've commissioned an expert on urban regeneration who's based up at Newcastle University in the northeast of England to look at the claims about effectively closing that north-south divide. What he's done is he's looked at all of the evidence, and you find very clearly that there is no proven link between high-speed rail and general urban redevelopment. But what you do see from examples across Europe is that where a train station actually stops on something like a high-speed line, there is redevelopment around that train station. But by and large, that is development that's sucked in from other areas around. So for example, a station in Manchester may well grow with new office development around it, but it'll almost certainly be at the expense of places like Oldham, Burnley, Rochdale and so on. So overall, we don't think there's any net growth from high-speed rail. The government claims that high-speed rail is essential because it's particularly green and sustainable. We've looked at that, and the claims really don't stand up. First of all, it relies very much on switching people from air to train. And there are no flights between London and Birmingham, and very few between London and Manchester. It also relies on the fact that any air slots that are freed up remain vacant and are never filled again. But it's already been shown. Statements from the British Airports Authority have said that any vacant slots at Heathrow Airport will be used for longer haul and more profitable flights, which is actually going to increase the carbon impact. So we believe that HS2, far from being green and sustainable, will actually increase the carbon generation. The government claims that high-speed 2 is going to be terrific value for money for the taxpayer. It's actually going to cost everybody in this country £34 billion. And the whole business case is predicated on one key fact, that every minute spent by a business person on a train is wasted time. Now that might have been true 20 years ago, but today, in an era of mobile phones, wireless technology, laptops and so on, some of the most valuable time business people spend is often on a train. So we don't believe that it's worth spending £34 billion just to arrive 20 minutes earlier in Birmingham. One of the key claims by the people that support high-speed 2 is that the existing lines, particularly the West Coast Main Line, will be full, and therefore we need high-speed 2 for extra capacity. Again, this is one of the myths perpetrated. When you look at the case, you find that actually there are alternatives that will yield a 215% increase in capacity on the West Coast Main Line for only 2 to 3 billion, as opposed to the 34 billion that would be spent on high-speed rail. So you can see, if you look at the next best alternative, actually it's far better value for money.